Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Upyanna Vallabha Givaradhari Upyanna Vallabha Givaradhari Yoganandana Bhajya Jannaranjana Shodanandana Bhajya Jannaranjana Namunatira Vandachari Munatira Vandachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivirkacharya Statra Sapta Shishimate Esi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada founder Acharya Bibhitiscon Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 13, which is entitled Brahma Stealing the Boys and Calves. Text 40. Tavat etya atmabu atmamanena truti aneyasa puravat aabdam kridantam dadrise sakalam harim tavat etyatma bur atma tava etyatma bur atma manena truti aneyasa purovat abdam kridantam dadrishe sakalam harim tavat etyatma buratma manena truti aneyasa purovat abdam kridantam dadrise sakalam harim tavat etyatma buratma manena truti aneyasa purovat abdam kridantam dadrise sakalam harim I have Srimad Bhagavatam in my room, which is, there is something inside which I need to take. You know where my room is?
Which room number?
Tavat, for so long. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, but yes. Tavat, for so long, etya, after returning, Atmabu, Lord Brahma, Atmamanena, by his own measurement, meaning by Lord Brahma's measurement. Truti anehasa, by moment's time. Puravat, just as previously. Abdam, for 1 year, by human measurement of time. Kridantam, playing. Dadrishe, he saw. Sakalam, along with his expansions. Harim, Lord Hari, Sri Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When Lord Brahma returned, after a moment of time had passed, according to his own measurement, he saw that although by human measurement a complete year had passed, Lord Krishna, after all that time, was engaged just as before in playing with the boys and calves who were his expansions. Please repeat. When Lord Brahma returned, after a moment of time had passed, according to his own measurement, he saw that although by human measurement a complete year had passed, Lord Krishna, after all that time, was engaged just as before in playing with the boys and calves who were his expansions. Lord Brahma had gone away for only a moment of his time. But when he returned, a year of human time had passed. On different planets, the calculation of time is different. To give an example, a man-made satellite may orbit the Earth in 1 hour and 25 minutes, and thus complete 1 full day, although a day ordinarily takes 24 hours for those living on Earth. Therefore, what was but a moment for Brahma was 1 year on Earth. Krishna continued to expand himself in so many forms for 1 year. But by the arrangement of Yoga Maya, no one could understand this but Balaram. Even 1 moment of Brahma's calculation, Brahma came back to see the fun caused by his stealing the boys and calves. But he was also afraid that he was playing with fire. Krishna was his master, and he had played mischief for fun by taking away Krishna's calves and boys. He was really anxious, so he did not stay away very long. He came back after a moment of his calculation. When Brahma returned, he saw that all the boys, calves and cows were playing with Krishna in the same way as when he had come upon them. By Krishna's display of Yogamaya, the same pastimes were going on without any change. On the day when Lord Brahma had first come, Baladev could not go with Krishna and the cowherd boys, for it was his birthday, and his mother had kept him back for the proper ceremonial bath called Santika Snana. Therefore, Lord Baladev was not taken by Brahma at that time. Now, 1 year later, Brahma returned, and because he returned on exactly the same day, Baladev was again kept at home for his birthday. Therefore, although this verse mentions that Brahma saw Krishna and all the cowherd boys, Baladev is not mentioned. It was 5 or 6 days earlier that Baladev had inquired from Krishna about the extraordinary affection of the cows and cowherd man. But now, when Brahma returned, Brahma saw all the calves and cowherd boys playing with Krishna as expansions of Krishna. But he did not see Baladev. As in the previous year, Lord Baladev did not go to the woods on the day Lord Brahma appeared there. Om Jnanitimirandasya Jnana Salakya Chakshurandritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Vismudaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Sattvarinda Swami Nam. Vismudaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nam. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pasyatya Desatarini. So here we are in the chapter Brahma stealing the boys and calves, and it is the last chapter of the Bhagavatam that has been translated, and the purports have been written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, because as we know, Srila Prabhupada translated the books until the last moment of his life, and these verses we are discussing now are from that time, probably from the first days of November 1977, because Srila Prabhupada left this planet on the 14th of November. So there is also a from the publishers, BVT publishers, they write something in this regard, which I will read now. This is the final Srimad Bhagavatam volume, translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It is smaller than the earlier volumes because it ends where the renowned author stopped translating just before his departure from this mortal world on November 14, 1977. at the Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan. The first part of this volume was produced in the usual fashion. Srila Prabhupada would sit and read silently from the Sanskrit text and then speak the translation and commentary into his dictaphone. Later, due to illness, it became necessary for his disciples to assist him personally. In these last days, Srila Prabhupada was gravely ill, unable to eat for weeks. His health had deteriorated, making even the slightest movement excruciatingly painful. As he lay still, a devotee would softly read the Sanskrit to him. Another disciple, sitting on his bed, held the microphone to him, nearly touching his mouth. And then Srila Prabhupada would speak, voice sometimes barely audible. These recordings, made in his quarters at the temple, constitute the balance of his book. In these final moments, the physician attending His Divine Grace confided that an ordinary man in such critical condition would have been crying out from pain. Srila Prabhupada's disciples were awestruck as they watched their spiritual master work quietly, undisturbed. In the last part of the book, we find Srila Prabhupada's usual clarity of thought, constant scriptural references, scrupulous attention to detail, and rigorous philosophical exposition fully intact, just as they were in the preceding 29 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada's last days in this translation will stand as an inspiring reminder that even the severest material circumstances cannot impede the activities of a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, signed by the publishers. So these are the, as mentioned, like 24. After this there are 20 more verses, and then that will then be the last day for Srila Prabhupada with us, with his devotees. So it's amazing to see that also Prabhupada in the very last moments of his life was able to speak clear philosophy, giving basically purports that will last for thousands of years, will be the guiding instructions for many generations to come. There's also, in that forward from the Bhagavatam, there is also the reader of Srimad Bhagavatam hears Sutta Goswami relate the questions of Maharaj Parikshit and the answers of Sukadev Goswami. Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada states, is the transcendental science not only for knowing the ultimate source of everything, but also for knowing our relation with Him, means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and our duty towards perfection of the human society on the basis of this perfect knowledge. It is powerful reading matter in the Sanskrit language, and it is now rendered into English elaborately, so that simply by careful reading one will know God perfectly well. So much so that the reader will be sufficiently educated to defend himself from the onslaught of atheists. Over and above this, the reader will be able to convert others to accepting God as a concrete principle. So here, with the pastime of where we have the pastime of Lord Brahma stealing the cows. So in the verse of today, we see that Lord Brahma is surprised to see that although he had stolen the cows and the calves, because originally this pastime started by it was time for taking lunch for the cowherd boys, but the calves had gone. They had disappeared from the eyesight, because usually the cowherd boys and they follow the cows closely, but they had disappeared from their eyesight. But Krishna pacified them, so said, "Okay, you take your lunch prasadam. I will go and fetch the calves, and don't worry. Take peacefully your prasadam." So then, while Krishna went then out away from the other cowherd boys, looking for the calves, then Lord Brahma he wanted to test Krishna, not fully understanding Krishna's power and abilities and omnipotency, etc. So then he took away not only the boys but also the calves who had to run away. He took them all away and he brought them to an unknown place. And so when Krishna, who was looking for the calves, realized that, okay, not only the calves are gone, but also the boys are gone. So then Krishna realized that. When he realized that, then he expanded himself in the calves and the boys, cowherd boys. And everything else went on. And then for a moment of the time of Lord Brahma, it was a very short moment, super short, knowing that one day of Brahma is, go into that a little later, but so it was very short. So then he came back, Lord Brahma came back, and then he was obviously surprised to see, because on earth 1 year had passed. In that extremely short moment for Lord Brahma, 1 year had passed. So, and in that 1 year, then Lord Brahma had observed that the cowherd boys, they were now so affectionately treated by their parents, because the parents, they experienced the same affection as Mother Yashoda experienced with Krishna. Because now the cow boys were not different from Krishna. And the same with the calves. When the calves came home, then the mothers, they started running to their calves with their milk bags, licking milk, because they desired they had such a strong affection for the cows had such a strong affection for their calves. When they noticed that they came back, that they immediately wanted to give them milk and lick them and affectionately deal with them. So that was an experience that was going on for 1 year. And then Lord Balaram, he, by the Lord's arrangement, was not there on that very day when Lord Brahma had taken the boys and the calves, because it happened to be his birthday. And so then his mother kept him back to have a special birthday ceremony. So all this was happening, and so only Lord Balaram, he had noticed, and he put that question to Krishna, what happened, because I see that there is some special affection going on. And then so when Lord Brahma came back, he was very surprised to see that life was going on as usual, and Krishna was having his pastime. Krishna was apparently not disturbed by the whole thing, because he simply expanded himself in every detail. Every cowherd boy had the same dresses, the same prasadam bag, and the same everything same. So nobody noticed. It was unnoticeable. Only Lord Balaram, he could notice something more on the affectional level, not on the practical external level, or on the affectional level. So that was going on then. So, and then of course, what further happens with Lord Brahma's reflections, that we will see later. So then, in relation to Lord Brahma, who himself is born from the navel of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, after Mahavishnu breathes out all the material universes, then Lord Brahma takes birth in every universe by the expansion of Vishnu, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and then Lord Brahma's lifetime is for celestial years. It's an easy number to remember. It's 100 years. And Lord Brahma at this moment is like 51 years old on the celestial level of years. Because the lifetime of Lord Brahma in earthly years, there is that difference between the higher planet's time schedule and the Earth planet time schedule. So the total lifetime of Lord Brahma is 311 trillion years and 40 billion. So it's an enormous number, which is even hard to grasp, even for people who are doing very good with figures. They will have a hard time with this. 311 trillion, 40 billions. So So then, and that is that length of time, these 100 years of Lord Brahma, or these 311 trillion years, that's the time span it takes for Mahavishnu to breathe out. And the same time span for Mahavishnu to breathe in. That's also the lifetime of Lord Brahma. So when Mahavishnu breathes out, that's when the creation manifests, happens. And then that's the length of the lifetime of Lord Brahma. So then when the lifetime of Lord Brahma is finished, then the creation is taken back by the breathing in of Mahavishnu, which takes also 311 trillion years. So in that time, then the living entities are held into special situation where then later they will be breathed out and manifested again. So they will be for a length of time be unmanifested. So one day of Brahma for our years is 4.32 billion human years. And that is called one kalpa. And one kalpa is 1,000 yuga cycles. And one yuga is this 4,320,000 years. And then consists of, on Kali Yuga, where we presently are, Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. And we are just 5,000 years, around 5,000 years in this Kali Yuga. And then next is Dvapara Yuga, which comes after this Kali Yuga. Then we have Treta Yuga, and then we have Satya Yuga. And Satya Yuga we just left 5,000 years ago, so to speak. So, and then in the in the time of this one kalpa, there are 1,000 yuga cycles and there are 14 manvataras. And each, the lifetime of one manvatar is 71 yuga cycles that goes through all four. And present now it's the 7th of the 14 manvataras where we are now. And with Vaivasvata Manu as the manvatar for this time, at this moment in this particular universe. And then in relation to that short time span that Lord Brahma was away, so 1 second for Lord Brahma's life is 100,000 human years. So it was indeed a moment, because a moment can be anything. So it was a fraction of a second. It was a little bit like it is known in human psychology that because Lord Brahma he knew he did something naughty. It's part of Lord Krishna's pastimes. He knew he did something naughty, so he was very curious to see what was happening. So that's why very soon after he did it, he came back, which was then a 1 year life on earth, but which was for him extremely short. And it's known a little bit in human psychology, like if somebody does something bad, like somebody puts fire in somebody's house, then human psychology says that the person who does that, he likes to come back soon after to see what is the police doing, what are they, what is happening, how bad is the fire. So some or other, that's it's known as that sometimes they catch the person who did it because he comes back to see what he did. So Lord Brahma, he did a naughty thing, and he wanted to quickly come back and see what is the result of what I did. And then, of course, he was very surprised. But this difference in time between the material world and the higher planetary systems is a strong element here. There is also a pastime with Maharaj Caitanya, who was a very powerful king on earth, and because he was so powerful, and because the demigods, they were losing battles towards the demons, they were not able to defeat the demons. So then they invited King Caitanya to the higher planets to help the demigods defeat the demons. And then King Caitanya, being very powerful, being empowered as a king, although a human being, he was empowered from higher up, so he had extra power by which he was able to help the demigods. And then the demigods were very happy with him, and that he came to help. So then they wanted to give him some material benedictions for what he had done. But in his particular case, the same happened because he spent time in the higher planets. Then if he wanted to go back to Earth, then his generations were gone. So nobody knew anymore who was he. So we can see that's the relativity of this. We can be very important at a particular moment of time, but then, as time evolves, then we are suddenly a nobody. Which, if we feel that's important to be somebody, then it can be a confronting situation. That's why it's better that we always keep our real situation, that we are a servant of Krishna, and that we are not so important. Whatever temporary service we may have been given, that makes us a little bit important, temporary or locally or whatever, still we should always see the relativity of that importance. Because the most important thing is our relationship with the Lord, and the fact that we know that we are a servant of the Lord. And in that consciousness, we are always safely situated. It's better like that than to be hyped away by some temporary importance, and better to keep to the basics, and that's safe that's a much more safe situation for us in our life, and especially in our spiritual life. And we also see that Maharaj Katvanga, when he when he was then asked like that, then he asked the question, how long do I have to live? He was a wise king. So he said, how long do I have can I still live? And then they said, not very long. So then he says, then I have no interest in any material benediction. And then let me simply concentrate on preparing myself to make the real journey back home, back to Godhead. So that was his conclusion on that on that offer. And then in the purport it states that, and Srila Prabhupada writes about that to some extent, that Balaram, Lord Balaram was not there. He happens to not be there, because if Lord Balaram would have been there, it would probably not have been the same, because Lord Balaram cannot be so easily tricked. So it's it doesn't explain that here, but it seems that it does explain that Lord Balaram was inquiring by Lord Krishna about, what's happening here. Something is happening. Can you please explain? And then Lord Krishna explained the detail of what was happening, that they are his expansions. But so that's, it happens to be like that. It happened to be like that, that on the day that Lord Balaram captured the gopis and the calves, that Lord Balaram was not there. So then it was more easy for Lord Balaram to take all the boys and calves and bring them to some hidden place. Of course, the universe is big, so he had no lack of space. Lord Brahma has a creating role, so he put the boys and the calves somewhere. But then for Krishna, it was an easy one. Lord Brahma was thinking that he is going to challenge Krishna, that he is going to put Krishna into difficulty, that he was going to, test his ability. He was testing his ability to deal with this particular situation. But Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all masters, was dealing with it in such a glorious way, in such a smart way, in such a mystical way, that even for Lord Balaram it was somewhat bewildering that how he had done that by expanding himself from one moment to the other. So that's how the Lord dealt with, and that's how Lord Balaram was on one side was not so deeply involved because he was not there, but on the other hand he understood what happened. So maybe there are some questions, some comments.
Well, maybe you can comment a little bit on the reasons why such an elevated soul as Lord Brahma could either be bewildered when we think about this, or either wanted to play some naughty games with the Lord. How in the world would such an elevated soul, coming from the heavenly planets, coming from Garbhodaksha and Vishnu, even having begotten such extraordinary sons and daughters, how can we all of a sudden a little bit bewildered and something? There are different reasons, I know that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and...
No, go ahead.
Yeah, there are different aspects that can be taken in consideration. One is that the pastimes of the Lord, this type of pastimes allow us to see different aspects of the Lord and different greatnesses of the Lord. Like Lord Brahma it's said that the present Lord Brahma is a pure devotee, but Lord Brahma is not always necessarily a pure devotee of the Lord. So, of course, if the Lord Brahma is a pure devotee of the Lord, then it can be considered that the Lord is inviting him to take part in his pastimes, and in this way help us to see different aspects of Krishna and Krishna consciousness, and in this way expand our and deepen our understanding, because these things, they like this when we just like the situation when Lord Indra, he also gets he is also a powerful demigod, and he is ultimately obedient to the Lord, very much obedient to the Lord. But at the same time, in that particular pastime, he got upset, because year after year, Krishna's father was offering this offering to him, a holy yajna, once a year. And now, that little boy, 6-7 years old, was telling his father to discontinue that and then offer it to him, offer it to Govardhan, who is not different from Krishna. So that was very upsetting for Lord Indra. At the same time, after being upset, then Lord Indra came in a very humble mood and a very asking for forgiveness for what he had done. The beauty with the demigods is that they can be temporarily affected by apparently material situations, material considerations, but ultimately they always choose the side of the Lord. They always choose to surrender and to offer their obeisances to the Lord. And we see that also here in this pastime. We see also that later on that Lord Brahma will take a very humble position. He will cry. He will cry with his 8 eyes. He will cry and wash the lotus feet of the Lord, asking for forgiveness for having challenged the Lord in this particular pastime. So that's the beautiful thing for that. That's I think what we could conclude of this, that is why is he doing that, is I think it's to enhance the pastimes of the Lord, and as the Lord is always doing things not in a single way, but it has always a double or a triple or a quadruple effect. Like this has an effect, a positive effect on us, on deepening our insight into Krishna's, who Krishna is, and who Lord Brahma is, and who the relationships are, etc. And it has it gives a deep insight to us. It gives also a lesson and an insight to Lord Brahma himself. So for everybody can grow from this type of pastimes, from this type of lessons. And then of course the Lord uses his Yoga Maya potency to make this pastime happen. And how much that role Lord Brahma exactly plays, it's a little difficult to measure. How much is the role he plays on the invitation of Yoga Maya, or how much is coming from his own accord, and something lingering in his heart that he wants to manifest, but maybe shouldn't manifest. That is more difficult to say, but it's definitely helping us in our spiritual life and in our spiritual understanding.
All this story made me thinking of one devotee who was named Brahma Haridas. He collected a huge quantity of Lakshmi and distributed a lot of books, especially he did a lot of food sets. So he was named like that because actually Brahma was a soft nature. He had some doubts about who this personality, who this little boy is. So he poked his nose in the pastime, but in a discreet way, and as a result he paid his obeisances, and he asked for a boon, and the boon he got was to take birth as Haridas Thakur in Caitanya pastimes. Whilst we see that another personality who poked his nose also in the Lord Krishna's pastime is Indra, but in a really bold and heavy way, because he wanted to really to kill the Rajbasi, bluntly. So also Indra pays his obeisances with a cow, but after all, later on, he had a trifle and a battle with Krishna and Satyabhama on the pretext of a mere vegetable or plant parijata tree. But he didn't appear in Caitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes because he was like a warrior, a little puffed up of his power, and a little heavy with Krishna's pastimes. Then Brahma got the mercy. Indra is still in his post, popular and everything. But maybe I have no knowledge that he took a role in Caitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So the way to to open the door of the Lord Krishna's pastime. But if we do it in an aggressive way and with thunderbolts, clouds, some Bhataka clouds, rain, heavy rain, and especially against the Brajmasi who are so dear to Krishna, it's a serious offense. And not so easy to counteract towards. We are in Swami here.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that there are many angles, as you mentioned, of understanding or pastime. One angle he describes is that Lord Rama, after seeing the killing of Agasura, was amazed by Krishna's pastimes. And when he saw him playing with the calf and what coward boys, there was certainly a little perplexing, and he was in Aishwarya Bhav. He couldn't quite grasp the nature of Madhurya Lila. So this pastime is glorifying, it exemplifies the elevated nature of Madhurya Lila above Aishwarya Lila. And also he describes, actually Lord Rama, he wanted to prove that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of God, beyond everything and everybody else. So he thought, let me do something very extraordinary, which because Krishna took one pastime even more glorious than anything he's ever performed before. So then, you will hear the other side, of course he was under the influence of Krishna's Maya Shakti, Yoga Maya Shakti or whatever, and he appeared to become overwhelmed with pride of his own opportunity and power. Beyond that, Vishwanath says that he actually thought, let me do something mischievous or something unusual. We will call Krishna now to manifest amazing pastimes, as was just mentioned. But if we hadn't done that this pastime, we wouldn't have this pastime to discuss anyway. Either the prayers of Lord Rama. It's also Krishna's arrangement, we could say, to fulfill his purposes. His connection to
So we will stop here. Thank you very much. So Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki jai. Oh, Premanande.
Sri Venkatana Prabhu ki jai.